Hi, welcome to another edition of Shabbat Lounge. I come before you today with the topic that is hard to talk about for some. It is, I'm going to say some things that probably aren't politically correct. Probably going to say some things that, depending on what part of the country you're from, you might be like, I can't believe you said that. So just know that that could happen. And the topic is the LBGQT. I believe I said that right, but that community of our population. I just read this week that a teacher in a school district was fired because he had a child in his class who was by birth certificate, a girl, but wanted to be a boy. And the teacher refused to call this person by quote-unquote gender-neutral pronouns as they wanted to be a quote-unquote transsexual. And so the teacher actually lost their job because of it. And I thought, man, that is so crazy. Crazy. You know, if you think about, try to explain that to your great-grandfather and your great-grandmother. They would just look at you like you had 3 heads. They're like, what? Somebody put it well today at work. And he said, you know, when you're busy trying to sustain life, you don't have time to think about things like this. But it's almost sometimes like we have too much free time and we just go crazy with these wild ideas and things that aren't good. And this is definitely one of them. And it's kind of been crammed down our throats. This agenda. And it's an agenda. You know, the Father did not make us that way. We are in a fallen world. We are in a fallen state. No, He didn't make us any more gay or transgender than He did make a person want to be an adulterer or want to be greedy, lustful. You know, those are all things that, we come by pretty honestly through our fallen sin nature. And, we don't need a lot of help in that department where we're already there. But the Father did not mess up at creation. He did create male, female across the kingdom of human and animal kind. There's a reason. You know, all you got to do is go to the plumbing aisle. And if you go grab 2 female couplings, they don't go together. Or 2 male couplings, they don't fit. It doesn't work. They won't go together. You know, it's such a basic biological principle that is so everywhere in nature. It is crazy for people to try to say that is somehow natural, and they want to force you and I to embrace it and accept it and promote it. But I get the part when people say we're supposed to hate the sin, love the sinner. But also I want to challenge you, find the scripture on that. Where does it say that in the text? I don't believe you're going to find any specific scripture that says that exact quote. But people quote it like it is scripture. And what it says is, if you truly love Yahuwah, you stop doing your wicked and perverse ways. That's all of us. All of us have those tendencies. We have those things that aren't right. But you can look at someone and tell if they are working towards cleaning that up, or are they feeding it? And you got 2 choices. If you feed it, you're never going to get better. You're never going to move past it. But if you keep saying no to the temptation, eventually you're going to win that battle with through the power of Yahuwah, through His, you have to ask for help. You got to be cleaning your life up, and you can power through those. Just ask, millions of people that have fought addictions and different problems in their life and things that they were doing that they needed to stop doing. And it takes an inner discipline. It also takes reliance on Yahuwah giving you the strength to resist. But the more you resist, the more the devil is going to flee from you, leave you alone. But it is so crammed down our throats, and it's coming more and more in our school systems and in the public arena. And we're going to be forced to deal with it. But to me, when we start calling, people by these crazy pronouns which don't belong, describing them, in a way we're rejecting what Yahuwah made at creation. And I think that's why that you see it listed as an abomination to Him. Because yes, sin is sin. It doesn't matter if you break one, you've broken all the commandments. We know that. But this particular sin, I don't understand how it works. I'm not going to pretend to understand. But the way I understand it is a direct violation of creation. You're saying that the Father messed up, that He made something wrong. I've had this argument, I've had this debate, and I've been shocked at how many churches are actually entertaining the idea of allowing maybe some transgender, some homosexual person into a leadership position because they feel so much pressure from the outside world to do this. I'm going to tell you right now, if your church is doing that, you should run away as fast as you can. Because that's not good. It's just as perverse to say, we know this guy's a womanizer, and he is, drugging girls and doing whatever he wants to, but we are going to promote him as a leader. What? You wouldn't do that. It'd be the same thing. We know this guy, he cheats, and he cheats everybody. And he's known for being a big cheat and not doing what he says he's going to do and ripping people off. But we're going to put him in charge of the money at the church. We think that's a good idea. There is no way. So it's the same thing. Same thing. So I just challenge you to stand up and embrace yourself like a man. And also to brace your children. Because your children are going to have to understand, because if you just rely on the school and the media and the internet and the TV, they're going to tell them all the wrong things. And they're going to tell them, it's cool. It's fine. That's just how they are. They were born that way. No. They were not born that way. You're not born an adulterer. You're not born greedy. You're not born lustfully. Now, we do have those tendencies, and we are born into this fallen sin nature and born into a fallen world. So yes, it is, those temptations come upon us early. But Yeshua actually said, there's a line in the Gospels accounts where He said, be perfect. And I believe, we can keep the law. We can obey His commandments that He asks us to do. And I just encourage you to be strong, be courageous, and know that there are many of us, in fact, a majority of us out in the world, in the real world, working hard every day, don't buy it all. But the pressure is so great to cave in. And I get, we do need to love people. We need to lead them to Yeshua in love, grace, forgiveness. And nobody starts being perfect. Our patriarch people that we study, especially in the Old Testament, they were far from perfect. We have many, many examples of all the crazy things that they did. Many of them are very cringe-worthy. And you're like, what? But through time, especially someone like Abraham, he got better. He just kept getting better. And that's the way we need to be. And that's how we need to take on, new people coming into the faith, and whatever sin issues they have, they need to be working on it. They should be getting better. We should not set up institutions and set up churches that enable people to continue in their sin and encourage them in their sin and embrace their sin. And if churches are doing that, they're going to have to answer for that. The Father is not going to be pleased. He does not want us to encourage sinful behavior. He does not want us to promote sinful behavior. He wants us to live a holy, set-apart life. And holy and set apart, sometimes it's rough. It means sometimes you're going to be weird. Sometimes you're going to be different. Sometimes you are going to be the only one doing and standing on some issue. And everybody else is looking at you like you're crazy. I want to tell you right now, you're not crazy. The last thing I want to say about it is, one time when I was in college, I was taking this class. It was some general studies class that they made everybody take. And it was a dumb class. It was like how to study and just all this stupid stuff I didn't need. And then I got into weird social questions. And one day, and so I'm old, and so this is in so this is a long time ago. And I was in this class, and the teacher asked the question. They said, all right, everybody that thinks homosexuality is okay, would you stand over on the left-hand side? If you think homosexuality is wrong, stand on the right-hand side. And there were probably about 40 students in this class, and there were two people, me and some other person, that stood on the side that said it's wrong. And everybody on that left side just glared at us like we were evil, like we had 3 heads, that was so hideous. They just couldn't believe that somebody could be so idiotic and moronic to believe such a stupid idea. And that's when I realized, whoa, not everybody thinks like me. But we have to be willing to take that and be willing to be different like that. Too many of us are happy, comfortable in our life, and we don't want to be different. We don't want to lose friends. We don't want to look bad. Now, I say all that to also say, I don't also think you don't have to tell everything about yourself like an open book to everybody. But you do need to stand up and speak the truth and do what's right. But I just want to encourage you to continue to stand for the truth, stand for what's right. Don't cave into the political correctness, the political pressure of the day and time. Do what the Word says. The Word is unchanging. In Malachi, it says, I, the Lord, do not change. I believe that to be true. The things that bothered him 5,000 years ago still don't bother him, because you see, he is beyond time and space. I think we forget that. We think, man, that's God, that's a long time ago. Well, yeah, it was. But he is beyond time and space. Time and space aren't anything to him. It's like a day. It's an instant. It's all happening at the same time, which is pretty mind-boggling, and it kind of blows your mind to think that Adam and Eve and the end of the world, all that is happening really at the same time. It's like, what? But to our Father, that's how He sees it. I picture it kind of like this. The time is like a clear plastic tube, and every person, every society, every culture, every place on the planet, everything that's ever happened on the earth is like in a clear plastic tube that's see-through, and He can like pick it up, hold it in His hand. He can turn it sideways, look upside down, turn it around, look every direction, and that's all happening in real time. I know it's kind of wild, but anyway, the point is, He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He doesn't change. And be careful if your theology has Him changing. Be careful if your theology has Him changing from being this vengeful God of the Old Testament. It's like, I, the Lord, declared, thou shalt not, whatever, or I will strike you dead with lightning. But be careful if your God is changing from that to the Jesus later that's like, hey man, it's all good. Everything is peace, love, and happiness. Everybody just needs to get along. Why can't we just be friends? We just need to get along. It's all good. It's all the same. We're all going to the same place. Embrace your brothers and sisters. It's all good. Really? That seems like quite a departure. So, He's either the same guy we see in the Old Testament, or He's not. So I challenge you to stand fast, to be firm. Don't sell out to the political correctness of the day. Be willing to take a stand. Be willing to do what's right. Not because me or anyone else says so, but what does the Bible say? What does the Father say? Truly, search the Scriptures, read what He says. Thank you for listening to Shabbat Lounge.